Hello, I'm Shaun McCarthy. I'm a Director of Action Sustainability Community Interest Company, and we sponsor and support the ISO 2400.org website, which is a knowledge sharing hub for anybody in the world that's interested in sustainable procurement. The website also has a self-assessment, which a lot of our users find very helpful. Over 1,000 people have used it. And what I'd like to do today is just take you through a very quick demo to explain to you how it works. It's really simple. The system will ask you 20 questions about your sustainable procurement practice, and it will give you a readout to say roughly how well do you align with the standard. It's not a detailed questionnaire. It's intended just to give you a rough idea of where you are so you can make a start on your action plan. Okay, so this is how it works. If you look at the top of the screen here, I'm already registered. If you're not registered on the site will invite you to register. We ask you for 5 very simple pieces of information: your name, your email address, which we do not share, the country that you operate from, the business sector that you're in, and the size of business that you're responding on behalf of. This is so we can benchmark the information only. Okay, so I'm going to log in. I'm just going up to the top right-hand screen there, and I'm going to log in. Once I've logged in, I get a nice friendly message saying, what would you like to do today? So I'm going to choose to take the self-assessment. But you can also, as you can see up the top here, you can also click take the self-assessment at any time, wherever you are on the website. You can take as many self-assessments as you wish, and we'd certainly recommend reassessing as you develop through your sustainable procurement program. So this is what the self-assessment looks like. It simply asks you 20 questions, and those questions follow the logic of the sections that are in the standard. There's a handy information button here that explains a little bit more if you're not quite sure what you should be scoring between 1 and 5 to each question. It gives you an example of what 5 looks like, what 3 looks like, and what 1 looks like. And obviously, if you're somewhere between a 1 and a 3, then you can score yourself 2. So what I'm going to do in this very short demonstration is I'm just going to go quickly through each of the answers to show you what happens at the end and what sort of reports are available to you. We do have a longer tutorial where I'll take you through the questions in a bit more detail and talk about organisations and how they might score differently. So question 1, does your organisation's policy and strategy reflect material sustainability impacts of your supply chains and the organisational drivers to sustainable procurement? So at the very top of the organisation, do you have a policy and a strategy that supports sustainable procurement? I'm not going to go through any of the other questions at this moment in time. I'm just going to pop some scores in and then show you what happens at the end. So I'm assuming this organisation is doing pretty well in this area. Moving on then to the next section, and as you can see on the left-hand side here, it's taking you through what parts of the standard you're actually in. So you're in section 2 of the standard now. So I'm going to give that one a 3. And then move on at the bottom to the next section. And as you can see, the next question is about governing procurement. There's only one question about governing procurement, so that's pretty simple when we move on. Enabling people, which is all about, how much training have you done? Do you have job descriptions? Do you support your people in developing sustainable procurement? Identifying and engaging stakeholders, very important, particularly engaging your suppliers. Then there's questions here about setting priorities. Setting priorities is very, very important to understand how your sustainability objectives map against your categories of supply. And then we start to get into measuring performance. Again, very important, something that we need to measure our suppliers' performance to understand the outcomes. And then finally, grievance mechanism. Do your suppliers have any sort of right of redress? The final questions take us into your actual sustainable procurement practice, and it asks you roughly percentage numbers, how much of your procurement actually complies with your sustainability policy and strategy. Okay, so as you can see at the end there, we get submit and go to my result once we filled in those 20 questions. Said it was pretty simple. And then what should come up now is a trace of your results. Okay, so as you can see on the screen in front of you, this lovely radar diagram appears, and it shows your result in the orange trace here, and it shows the average benchmark for this calendar year, so how you benchmark against people that have actually used the self-assessment tool this year. And then finally, the best possible scores. How do you benchmark against best practice? So straight away, if you look at the shape of the diagram here, understanding the fundamentals is pretty strong. That's because this is an organization that has a strong policy and strategy. Where I would look at the weaknesses, setting priorities, really important. You might have a lovely policy and strategy that says this is what we want, but if you haven't actually looked at how that maps against your sustainable procurement program and against your categories of supply, then that's something that you really need to do. Okay, so moving on, it takes you down into the detail. It will show you a chart of each question. All these documents are downloadable as a PDF, so you can use them in your presentations, your reports, etc., etc. So it gives you quite a lot of granular detail to understand how well you're doing. What you can also do, scrolling back up to the top, is you can benchmark by country. So I can look at all of the organizations that have done a self-assessment in my geographical area. And I get a different trace then. So in my country, the benchmarks are slightly different. I can do a trace by my sector. So looking at the sector, organizations across the world, anywhere, but they're in my sector. I might be in construction, I might be in engineering, I might be in retail or whatever. And then finally, I can benchmark by business size. Okay, so in this particular case, my business is quite a small business. I can see 21 small businesses have submitted a self-assessment, so I can start to understand how well I'm doing against those sectors. So the other thing I can do, and this is maybe more of academic interest to those people that are more academically inclined, I can switch to trend data. So I can look year on year at how the trends have changed against each section of the standard. I can also start to map that trend data by country. So as you can see here, this is how Australia is doing. The sample size is down in the bottom corner here. Some of the samples are quite small because we continue to build data. The more people that use this system, the better data that we can have. So as I say, you can start to see then country by country and immediately, comparing Australia with Brazil, there are some quite significant differences in how well things are being reported. And this system will just continue to grow as we move on and as we go through the process. So you can get a lot of really good information really, really quickly. You can do a self-assessment as often as you like. You can download these reports to a PDF, and you can start to build a plan for your sustainable procurement program. So do give it a try. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for listening to me. And if you've got any further information you would like, go to ISO2400.org. There's lots of really good shared learning on sustainable procurement on our website. Thank you.